Welcome back to Captain AI. And today we're going to be going over how to source leads. I'm going to give you some resources to be able to use cloud computing to sort through leads you might be getting from places like Fiverr or Upwork or list downloads. But I'm also going to show you a new tool that we've been working on that actually gives you access to completely verified leads from the get-go, just in case you don't want to actually spend a bunch of time figuring out how to sort through massive data points to actually get to the people that you want to talk to. And then another step is, of course, verifying those leads to make sure you're not sending communication to dead end accounts. So pay attention and wait till the end because you'll get a link to be able to get your first 100 verified leads from that fluid database that's constantly being updated by all the data research that we're constantly doing. You've seen lead magnets out there of people giving away lists of leads and typically don't recommend any of them because that's always old data. And that's why I'm going to go through how to use the Google Cloud computers to sort through that data if you already have some of it, or if you've gotten these lead magnets in the past. But remember, at the end, I'm going to show you how to get verified leads directly from a fluid database that's constantly verifying them. So you never have to do this as long as you just value paying for a service over spending a bunch of time dealing with it all on your own. So this is a typical lead magnet right here where they'll get your name, your email, and put you into a funnel and essentially send you over either a toolkit or some sort of list that will end up in your Google Drive. Now, when it ends up in your Google Drive, it will look a little bit like this. All right. So it'll typically look like something like this. This was a list of actually 7 million leads that I cut down a little bit, all scraped off of LinkedIn. And this one actually came from one of my friends, Andrew. We separated them into countries, as you can see, and we also separated the ones in the United States into states. And what we're going to do is you can see how they're all zipped right now. And you wouldn't want to unzip one of these files onto your computer um, because it could potentially crash it because there's so much data there. I'm going to show you how to use the Google CoLab cloud computers to be able to unzip these things, and I'll give you a cheat sheet, just like I did last time on ones that weren't zipped. All right, so on the cheat sheet, you'll see colab.research.google.com, and that's what I got here on this screen for you right here. And we're just going to go into one that I've already been working on just to save time and load that one up. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is essentially give it access to your drive. And you have to see that Google Drive is mounted to know that it's tied into your actual drive. And the way that you do that is super simple. You're just going to essentially cut and paste from the cheat sheet that I gave you, essentially this code, which is from google.colab import drive. It's going to be drive.mount and the actual content drive. It'll run you through a bunch of permissions, asking you for access to your drive. Just agree to all of them. And then you have it tied in to get access to your drive. Next step is that we just come over here. And what we want to do is when it has access to your drive, it'll see your drive. And then you just want to find wherever your lists are that you want to actually pull from. And so we're going to give it access to this one right in here, come in here into state right here, and we're just going to use California as the zip drive. And so I click on these three little dots. And what I do want to do is hit copy path. And then what you're going to use is back over on our cheat sheet right here. You're going to use this next step right here, which is workflow B, because it's a zipped file right down here. So you can literally just cut and paste this number one into Gemini right here, and it'll write all the code for you. So let's say I wanted to do that just from the very beginning. I would just paste inside these quotes right here my copied actual drive file. And then I would just cut and paste this into here, and it would start running the code for me right here. It might ask you a few times to like, hey, there's an error. Essentially, just say agree and accept, let it fix its own errors, and it'll write the code perfectly to give you the outputs that you're looking for. So now, as you see on here, what it's done is it's copied that entire zip file and it's unzipped it on a cloud computer. And that's great because it's not on our computer. Now we're actually going to ask it to sort through that data and only give us anything that has certain keywords in it. And the keywords that I'm going to pick are going to revolve around event planning, wedding planners, and things of that sort. So as you can see right here, it wrote the code to essentially give me event planners, anything that is wedding in it, conference, or meeting. And so this is the output that it's actually going to put back into your drive and save it as I just had it named clean leads underscore or clean underscore leads underscore results CSV. And so then if I come back into my drive, I can find that file. Now have like renamed it so I can find it even easier and put it back into my LinkedIn leads file right here. So it took right around millions of leads. We narrowed it down just to like California ones with a previous use of the cloud computer. Now, what we're looking for is we want to narrow down all the ones that were in California that actually had those keywords in the descriptions. Okay, and now you can see the list that it's actually put back out after sorting through all that data. You can see bachelor parties, bridal showers. You can see other ones that are wedding party. You can get more precise, or you can leave it fairly broad. But let's just scroll through and see how many leads we actually were able to get. Okay, so it looks like we got with actual emails right around 14,000 that had to do with public relations, wedding planners, event planners, which isn't a bad size list to actually start with. Now, we would actually have to take this entire list and, of course, verify it with like Million Verifier or some other email verification tool to make sure each one of these emails is actually an inbox we can send communication to. So it's super important to verify just because you don't want to be sending emails to somebody that, let's say, just got fired and that email account no longer works. And what's that going to do is it's going to give the email server a hard bounce. And that's going to degrade your sending domain. And what that means is it's going to be less likely that that sending domain will actually land in the inbox, and more likely it'll start to land in things like spam or promotions. So it's super important that you don't send emails to an unverified list. Typically, to verify this many through Million Verifier, right around 15,000 is going to take you maybe like $50. But if you don't do it, the likelihood of you burning your domains and having to rebuy domains and re-warm up email addresses is extremely likely. So now it looks like we also have a ton of data here that doesn't have email addresses from what we use to actually scrape this data. Now, you could take the remainder of all of these contacts and use like a program like Clay, which is a data enrichment software, to be able to put each one of these contacts in there and find their exact email address. I might go over that in a separate video if that's something you guys are interested in and how that works. Go ahead and comment the word down below Clay, and if we get enough comments, I'll make a video about it. So here we are on Million Verifier. I don't have an affiliate or anything for this, but I definitely use it. If you just simply log in, I only ever send to the absolute like good ones. I don't even send to risky, and I definitely don't send to the ones that fail the test. So typically on a large list of, let's say, like 15,000, it might cut it down in half. If it's an old list, it might cut it down by like 3/4. The important thing is that you actually use the service so that you don't send to non-verified email accounts. So after you run a test, and this is one that I did earlier, you can see about, 72% were good. I don't mess with any of the riskies and I don't mess with any of the bads. You can find other tutorials that'll show you how to try to save these. For me, I'd rather just get better data like I'm going to show you right now. So that is technically the way that we've been doing lead database generation for years. And it was using things like, even most recently, like N8N and Apify to scrape the internet and compile lists. We've done it scraping Instagram. We've done it scraping LinkedIn. And I mean, if you're interested in learning how to do all of that, definitely just drop a comment below. Interested in learning how to scrape? We can definitely make another video about it, but I want to show you a shortcut. And that is a service since we've been doing this for years and we have clients that are always asking us, hey, I need 50,000 people that are this exact ICP. Well, we would scrape all the data and essentially we would put that into a lead generation cold outbound system for them and start generating leads for them. Then we thought like, well, why don't we start formulating our own database and then keep it up to date as a fluid database, making sure that it's always verified and it automatically just gets rid of the ones that are non-verified. And this is what it looks like. So let's just type in here something like I've just been working on. And remember, event planners isn't exactly like the most sought after people to market to, but let's try it. So right there, I just typed event planner and you can see right here, it tells you the source of where we scraped it from. Okay. It says that we have their email. We're not going to show it to you right away. Right. And we also show that it's a verified email and we tell you where their location is. But right there, event planners, again, isn't something that we really do a lot of searching for or have a lot of clients that we build lists for. But we already have 5,644 leads for you to be able to contact that are actually verified. Now, remember the old way of doing it, I would have had to pay somebody on Fiverr to scrape all the data, or I would have to have built an N8N automation to scrape all the data. And then I would have to go through all of that data, find all the catch-all emails and sort through it to make sure those are actually verified. And that would technically probably for a list like this size cost me right around $50 after you pay for people to get the information, the time to build the scrapers, and then the actual verification process. Now let's look at something that people really search after, CEOs. So I just typed CEO into the search and I got 250,000 leads that are in this database. Most of them are going to be from LinkedIn because that's typically the easiest place to actually find people that use CEO. But you can see I can click through and look at the last page, scanning database, searching through millions of verified leads, finding your perfect prospects. Great filters. We're applying all of them. And if you wanted to narrow it down into like decision makers, a certain job title, or you wanted to use certain company keywords for it to narrow everything down into, you wanted a certain industry, you can sort through all of those right over here to narrow down that search to make sure that you're actually finding your target demographic. Another really cool feature is that you can actually search just by company, or if you want to make it into a specific location like country, state, or city. And that's not just all. We're also using, I'm going to move this over into another screen. Going to build a local lead database, basically using Google Map scrapers. And we're also going to build a creator leads database to be able to essentially connect you with influencers and online creators. So the first one that we're building, the B2B business space, because cold outreach and cold email works best for B2B outreach. And next is coming local businesses, create and the creator lead database. So we've only just begun. And like I said, if you want access to this, we'll actually give you your first 100 leads for free so that you can test it out and see the quality. Just comment down below lead database, and I will make sure to get it right over to you.